in a very intense beef. Like, this is during the time when I'm shooting Higher Learning movie. Source Awards, before they started to air on television, was at that same location at the Paramount Theater in Madison Square Garden. This is the same stage where Suge Knight tried to diss Puff at that Source Awards. Me, Tupac, Omar Epps, we were staying in the Oakwood Apartments, which is the fully furnished apartments in LA. Pac was in one floor, Omar Epps was on another floor, I'm on my floor. We bouncing back and forth to each other's cribs the whole time we out there shooting movies. Tupac, during this time frame, had to go to New York because he was performing at this particular Source Awards. This is when we was all performing off of DAT tapes, crack. So, you know, once the motherfucking engineer press play on your DAT tape, it ain't like you could stop that shit and play.
No, you got to go.
You got to go, right? So Tribe was Tribe was doing their acceptance speech for Best Group of the Year. They had won the award for that year at the Source. And Tupac was supposed to be the next performance after their acceptance speech was complete and Pac got introduced. Somehow the production person, the stage production manager, wasn't paying attention to what was really happening. And the motherfucker ended up pressing play in the middle of the Tribe acceptance speech. So Pac just comes out there performing all over their speech like he was shitting on their speech. You feel me? That wasn't Pac's fault, but it looked like a flagrant Pac disrespect.
It looked like some Pac shit.
Right. It looked like a flagrant Pac disrespect.
Pac 101.
Right. So, you know, and at the time, because Pac, you know, had this little rep of being a little bit of a loose cannon, it looked like, all right, here he go again, right? The beef starts. Pac comes off the stage, Tribe, they with Zulu Nation, and shit get crazy. So it ain't lead to no blows, but a pressure was very intense between Tribe and Pac at the time. They ended up, fortunately, not going to blows, but they didn't walk away from that shit with the beef squashed. It was going to lead to something if they crossed paths again and somebody didn't step in, intervene and mediate and try to put it to bed. Pac came back to the Oakwood Apartments.
And you there?
Yeah, and I'm there. And he know my relationship with Q-tip. So he gave me the call and said, you got to come check me real quick. When I pull up on Pac, I get to his apartment and we in there chilling, and he actually got mad blood all over the place, and he had an MPC 60 beat machine in his apartment, and it was looping this Isley Brothers sample, and he had wrote about 3-4 songs to the same sample for different records, which was confusing to me because I never saw that. Like, I write one song to a beat, I'm not writing a different song to the same beat. I ain't want to seem anxious to know what he was talking about because, you know, it's also the vibe. We hanging around, we blowing tree, we just vibing and chilling. So it almost was like he forgot to talk to me about what he called me to talk to him for because he had got caught up in writing these songs. I eventually said to him, you wanted to holler at me about something? And he go, oh, yeah. So, you know, this is what happened with me and Q-tip, and I know you and Q-tip is like brothers, and it wasn't my fault. They press play on the DAC. I fucking hear my song. I go out there. I got to do what I'm doing. I didn't, you know, I'm focusing on the shit that I got to do, so I wasn't even really paying attention to the fact that they was doing their acceptance speech. And when they approached me on some shit, I didn't know what it was about. I need Q-tip to know I wasn't on no bullshit. Like, I got unbelievable respect for Tip and Fife and Tribe. Could you get us on the phone? Because he ain't have Tip number. So I called Tip, and I talked to Tip about Pac getting on wanting to talk to him. Him and Pac spoke. Tip and Pac spoke. They actually squashed the shit. And they were now trying to strategize a way to get on BET and do a public truce. and it didn't get to happen.